What's up? What's up? Good morning. It is Thursday morning, October 1st. Happy October, Chad.
You too, buddy.
It's basically Halloween now. I'm excited. What are you drinking? Just water? Oh, ice. Sounds like just ice.
My morning protein shake.
Your morning protein shake. I'm drinking a little nostalgia.
Grid Method coffee. I like it.
Little Grid Method brew. Yesterday during our brain break, Taylor, I think it was Taylor. I apologize if it wasn't Taylor. I don't know, it was Taylor or Elijah or Joe. One of those three gentlemen came up with our next move as a Teach Better team.
Oh, yeah?
That is Teach Better Whiskey. Because Dave and I we talked about whiskey a lot.
Educational companies, alcoholism.
We were talking about the peanut butter whiskey that Dave's been obsessed with. And we started talking about we gave a bunch of stuff away yesterday, by the way. I started doing that. We were talking, and I told them all to think about what we should give away, and everyone was saying that we should give away whiskey, and then that spurred, and we'll just call it Drink Better Whiskey.
I don't know if I can approve that.
So I went ahead and bought about 13 domain names that are related to better and whiskey and stuff. It's going to be, Drink Whiskey, Teach Better. No.
Although 2020 would be the year that is.
That would make sense.
Necessity.
So apparently then this morning, now we're going to do like Grid Method coffee. So we're going to do some sort of like Teach Better coffee. It's going to be called Drink Better Coffee. Maybe that's what we should go.
Coffee I could get behind for sure.
Coffee you could get behind. So I brought the group up on my iPad to watch for names, but of course, the way I have my iPad, it doesn't show me the comments. So I don't know who this is, but good morning.
We got Amanda Post.
I know Amanda's in here. She's got a meeting before this. I'm getting no. There it is. So that's Carly. Carly, what's up? Carly Spina's in the house. Good to see you. So we are talking this morning about this brand new course we got out right now. So it's live now. So it's there.
Absolutely.
So if you have a Teach Better Academy membership, the $9 a month where you get everything, it's already in your courses. You can go take it right now.
Yep.
If not, it's over at teachbetteracademy.com. It is free. And it is led by on this side, this guy right there, Chad. And so the title is Student Progress Monitor, and this is a really, really common thing that we get a lot of follow-up questions to whenever we do. I don't want to say workshops because usually, even with workshops where you dive deep into this, we still get a lot of questions about it. But really, when we're talking, when we share it, someone takes a free course, someone reads a blog post about it, someone hears about it in our group, whatever, people will usually follow up with questions on, okay, but how do I track this? What do I do? What am I actually looking for and stuff like that? So, Chad, I think you did a really nice job in this course breaking down why you should be tracking progress, what you should be tracking, some of the ways and how. There's some templates that you provide, stuff that are easy to just copy and go with, but then also, how you should utilize that. Can you give us I know I just kind of touched on the bullet points, but can you give us sort of the 1,000-foot summary of this course and what you were trying to put into it so people can take away from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, when we work with teachers in schools and districts across the country, progress monitoring is one of those things that always kind of gets brought up again during the Q&A or during when we're coaching or working with staff members or in the private Facebook group or wherever people are kind of starting to dive into the grid method. Progress monitoring kind of always comes up as a secondary question. And I think one of the reasons is that progress monitoring is one of the things that kind of keeps the grid method current. It keeps it successful because you know where your students are. And I think it's a really, really powerful aspect. And one of the things I wanted to do with this course was show the power of progress monitoring, not only with the grid method, but progress monitoring by itself. So whether you're someone who's already running the grid method and you just want to know what are other people doing with progress monitoring, this course could be amazing. But if you're someone who maybe has never heard of the grid method but wants to know where your students are and what they're doing, you can also take this course and start progress monitoring without using the grid method.
I think that's a really important point to harp on here for a second, is that you talk about the grid method, and then I think you actually give a little brief overview just in case, because you reference it. And obviously this is the most common thing. It's one of the most common things we train on. But I think the important fact is to notice that wow, yes, progress monitoring is a foundational piece of the grid method. It's not it doesn't have to be with the grid method. And I think
yeah.
I just really wanted to harp on that because I think a lot of people, like, they know what's about they know what's for the grid method. Maybe it's just not where they want to go. Maybe they're not ready for it, whatever. This is a piece that does not have to be with the grid method. It's a piece that makes it really great because it's good no matter what. Sorry,
sure.
So I just want to really harp on that.
No, absolutely.
And Dave is totally misusing the word gentleman, but go ahead.
Well, he doesn't know what that means, obviously, if he's using it for us. But absolutely. And I think it's really important to make that separation, right? This course is not a grid method course, even though if you're using the grid method, it can help you with progress monitoring. Yeah. It's a progress monitoring course that can help you with the grid method, but it can also help you if you have no idea what the grid method is, if you don't know who I am, if you don't know who the Teach Better team is, and you just want to know where your students are. So this course overall is really going to give you an overview of what progress monitoring is, why we should progress monitor, what we should look for in progress monitoring, ways to use progress monitoring, and the different ways and decisions you should make when you're thinking about progress monitoring. One of the biggest things when I was making this course, and as we've talked to teachers and districts across the country, is that there's no single way to progress monitor. Some people do it on a clipboard at their desk with color-coded highlighters. Some people do it on a Google Sheet and digitally, and they publicly show it so they can have a conversation every day with their students. There are so many different ways that we've literally seen people use progress monitoring that this course is really taking all of what we've learned from working with teachers as they progress monitor and putting it into a single place so that if you just want to know about this aspect of instruction or monitoring your progress of your students, this is where you can go and you can really get that that little bit of a deeper dive into the benefits of progress monitoring and how you can start that process. I give teachers a bunch of downloadable templates that they can literally take and just use the next day to progress monitor their students. We talk about what you're going to progress monitor. So some teachers just use progress monitoring for when they're running projects or maybe writing an essay for your students on a paper. Other teachers use it with the grid method or a self-paced mastery framework or pathway. Other teachers use it for things like assignment completion, or some teachers use it as a day-to-day monitor of standards mastery, right? So like, how are you doing on assessments? Because the truth is, if you think that the grade book is a good enough monitor for your classroom, you're wrong, because you're probably not updating your grade book every single moment of every single day. Yeah. So you're only getting, I think of, like if I'm on a run and there's a GPS tracker, but it's only taking my position every mile, it's going to have these weird jagged map at the end of the run, right? Like I'm not getting like minute to minute updates or second to second updates. Yeah. Progress monitoring is literally the real time update of where your students are, what they're working on, and what you can do, more importantly, as the teacher to intervene and make instructional decisions.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's dive a little bit into it. Like, what are some of the key things, and you kind of just touched on, but like more specific, like key things in a classroom that we're going to be monitoring? Like, when am I? So I'm not going to if I do my grade book, I'm only hitting it at times that I'm doing very specific assessments potentially, or whatever, depending on how my grade book's set up. Just like you said, every mile. What are the things all in between those miles that I need to be monitoring, that I'm putting into this progress monitoring piece?
Absolutely. So a lot of times we talk about things like formative assessment, that it shouldn't be in the grade book. It shouldn't penalize a student, but it doesn't mean we don't need to monitor how students are doing on these formative assessments, right? So a progress monitor could be a great way if this is what you choose to monitor. That's a really key factor here. Like, it's up to you on what you monitor because you know how you want to utilize it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a teacher and I want to utilize mastery of my objectives or mastery of my standards, and then progress monitor my students' formative assessments, maybe I take that exit slip data that I'm getting after my lesson, and then I mark on the progress monitor where my students are at. And then I can look at that data on a day-to-day or minute-to-minute basis, depending on when those assessments are happening in my classroom, and I can make instructional decisions. A lot of teachers also use it if you're doing a project. Okay. A lot of times if you're doing a PBL or a project or something like that, you go, hey, everybody, you have 2 weeks. Here's your project, go. And then the students just kind of work and collaborate and continue working on their project. Well, if you break that project out into steps, you can progress monitor so you know exactly where students are in the process, and you can tailor your instruction and your help and your support based on where those students are at. One of my favorite lines from a cartoon I used to watch called G.I. Joe was, knowing is half the battle. Okay. And this is sort of like my tagline for progress monitoring, because you could be the best teacher with the best instructional tools, with the best resources, with the best technology. But if you don't know where your students are and which of those tools and resources to use, it's useless. So if I'm just grabbing stuff and going, I hope this works because I don't know where everyone's at, you don't know where your kids are at, so the effectiveness of those tools and resources goes way down. But in terms of knowing is half the battle, if you know exactly where students are, what they need, and what they're doing in your classroom, you can now utilize all of your tools at your disposal in the most targeted, efficient, and strategic way possible.
So I agree that progress monitor makes sense. I need to know where my kids are. I think this is something that I want to do, but it kind of sounds like it's extra work for me as the teacher. Is this something that that I have to do? Now I'm doing this other thing. So now I'm assessing them. I'm also going in. I got to go into wherever I'm progress monitor. I'm now marking it on a, like you said, day by day, minute by minute. That seems like a lot of extra work. Is there any way for this not to be all on me?
Yeah, absolutely. So
totally leading you. I don't know the answer. Go ahead.
So we go through in the course that there are a lot of options for progress monitoring, one of which is giving over control to the students.
Student ownership.
A lot of our teachers let students be the ones updating their progress. And then they either share a Google Sheet or they have a mark it on a board or a sticker chart or something in the classroom. And then the students are taking ownership. So if I, as the student, have been checked off or assessed, or I get done with this task or part of the project or whatever I'm monitoring, I can go then update my progress monitor. So now I just have to create the template, which, by the way, we did for you. So we made you the template, and if you have your students do the work, it's actually no extra work for you as the teacher, other than setting up the systems and routines, which we also talk about in this course, which is setting up those system structures and routines in your classroom so that it's not this cumbersome, awful thing. And one of the big things I do talk about in this course is making decisions that fit you, your needs, and your learners, right? There is not a cookie cutter single way to do this. I'm going to give you tons of different options on how you can do this in your classroom and some parameters to work in. But other than that, you're going to take what works for you and you're going to implement it in the best way, most efficient way, and the easiest way, so it stays up to date for you. Because you can go ahead.
No, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
it's okay, I talk too much.
That I want to touch on as well, because Ray and I actually just talked about this. I think on a podcast episode we record and talk about this course because it's coming out next week, I think. And well, first off, good morning to Chelsea, who says, "Good morning. My students are rocking the progress monitor sheet this year. That's awesome." Chelsea, I think they're 100% virtual too, which is great. So this is really private. By the way, two things. One, if you think he doesn't believe in this, Chad uses this when we do workshops with teachers as well. But one of the things you were just talking about is that you were talking about giving parameters, and I didn't do this, but it's up to you. And Ray was touching on this because one of the big things is we've had these conversations with people who they're like something happens and oh, well, that's not how Chad said it in a video, so I can't do it. I'm done. I think it's really important to understand that, just like we always say with the grid method, it happens too. But with progress monitoring, it's your class still, right? Chad's going to give you the tools and the understanding of why you should do it, what you should be tracking, what you can track, why you should, and then how you can utilize it. But what you actually do and how you actually put it in place is up to you. And if you don't do it exactly like Chad or exactly like Ray or exactly like Chelsea, that's okay, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and utilizing it.
Right.
So I wanted to harp on that for a second because I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people who take courses and things like this, they go, okay, well, this is how I'm supposed to do it. And if I can't do it exactly like that, then I can't do it at all. And that's not what we want you to take away from this at all. So
no, and we actually cover some of that in the course as well. We have a whole section on just pitfalls, things to avoid, things to get you started on the right track, because luckily we've literally seen I mean, you and I have been in classrooms across the country and seen so many different examples that we're aware of that, like inherently, that you can do this so many different ways, and we've seen it thrive in so many different ways. But if you're just taking this course for the first time, you might not know that. So I really tried to articulate that message within this course so that regardless of if you've been progress monitoring for 3 years or this is the first time you've ever heard of it, you can walk away and find what works for you.
I love it, dude. It's a good course. I had the distinct honor of editing the videos for you and putting it up. But I'm excited for it. It is up over at teachbetteracademy.com. It is free, so just go get it. If you have the membership, it's already in your My Courses dashboard, so it's ready to go. There are other free courses over there, by the way, as well, so you can keep going. I do want to mention, so we're probably going to talk. We might talk about this. I think we're going to come live again tomorrow. Maybe talk about this a little bit more. I might have you actually dive into take us through maybe a segment of the course or a lesson inside the course to kind of give a really good preview. So Chad and I'll be back tomorrow morning at some point. I think it's going to be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. Talk tonight. I do want to mention tonight's Mastery Chat, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We've got the awesome Brad Hughes leading us tonight.
Love Brad.
Our topic tonight is returning to school, moving from fear to hope. So I think that's pretty relevant topic right now for most people. And I get to go live with Brad afterwards at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So join us there. You can go to teachbetter.com/mastery chat if you want to see the questions ahead of time. A lot of people like to schedule their answers so then they can engage during that hour. But we'll see you there. Head over to teachbetteracademy.com, get the new course from Chad Ostrowski. And I think that's it, Chad. I think we'll let him go after this. So appreciate you all. Have a fantastic Thursday. We'll see you tonight at Mastery Chat, and we'll see you tomorrow morning as well. See you.